Yo, it's the Fields Bros, and we're going to talk more OKC. So, I'm going to ask you a question. Can Russ and PG end up being better than Russ and KD? And I'm going to tell you the answer is yes, and here's why. Aside from the obvious point that Russ and KD never delivered the gold, by default, if Russ and PG get a ring, then they're automatically a better duo. So that said, we're going to look at more of a technical side on, what, on a basketball level would make them a better duo. Number one is the Russ and KD duo was an overlapping skill set type duo. We've seen these all around the league before, where in this sense, both players want to dribble the ball. At the time, Russ wasn't a 10 assist dude really. He'd get like 7 or whatever. But my point is, there's lots of games where Russ would take more shots than KD, and KD's not at the time was not that great of a defensive player compared to like Paul George right now. Like Paul George is 28, he's in his prime. Paul George right now today is probably he's probably a more complete player all around than earlier Kevin Durant. I think KD, his best year, his prime, was probably year one of Golden State. Like he had his best year, efficiency wise. He was just everything was just butter. Like I'd say that KD's better now because he's more seasoned and more developed on a mental level than he was in his OKC days. So that said, I'd say Paul George right now is probably equal to a pre-Golden State Kevin Durant, because I think KD's better now in Golden State than he ever was in OKC. He's just more seasoned and he makes less mistakes. He's improved defensively now. And also, you combine that fact with the fact that Russ and PG don't have overlapping skill sets when they play the game. You can almost pencil it in that Paul's going to shoot more than Westbrook does, and Russ, as a result, is going to do most of the ball handling and get the assist. So almost every game, a lot of games, out of either team, we have the number one point scorer in George. We have the number one assister in Westbrook. We'll have the number one rebounder in either Adams or, in most cases, Westbrook. We'll have the steal leader, which is almost always Russ or Paul because they're number 1 and 2 in the league in steals. So we have these guys who just dominate all aspects of the game. Like I said, Russ and PG don't have overlapping skill sets like Russ and KD did. And that is the hugest part. So, the fact that the Russ and Paul they sync more, the end result is greater than what it was before with just Russ and KD back in the OKC days. So that's, I think, one way to look at this. So yeah, there's a lot of good things going with that duo right there. But from a team standpoint, team defense standpoint, Russ and P definitely have, without question, can be a better defensive duo than Russ and KD ever were, because one, they're twice as smart on defense now, and two, Paul George is the best comparison for his play style I would have would be like a Miami, LeBron James. Obviously, the playmaking's not quite there, but in terms of the athletic prowess, the scoring prowess, and individual defensive prowess, and just how you can play the whole freaking game. That's really the only name a better 3-and-D dude than a Miami LeBron James or a Paul George right now. Obviously the playmaking, I'm just talking about offense, defense, tenacity is what I'm talking about. So it's Paul is obviously without question a better defender than Russ or KD pre or post, OKC, Golden State, whatever. He's better defender than all those dudes. So the fact that we could have, a DPOY dude in Paul George, he's not going to win the scoring title, but he could mess around and average 30. Like, I've seen, overall, I've just seen so much from these two this year that, I'm really hoping that they can come through, and get this title. I want this team to win real bad. It's like a Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton type, camaraderie that these guys have. So I'll leave it at that. We'll have more duo comparisons, more player comparisons coming soon. There's a lot of things we could talk about. But, yeah, later, guys.